That's 672-5763. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Good morning and welcome to Public Pulse. Now, 10 to 12,000 years ago, on the Fertile Crescent, humans domesticated cats. That means felines have been with us since the birth of civilization as we know it. Cats also have an extra organ that allows them to taste scents in the air, which is why your cat will stare at you with their mouth open from time to time. It's something that my wife absolutely despises, is when the cat looks at her like that. Joining me this morning to talk about cats is Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter Executive Director AJ Evans and Assistant Cat Lead Chelsea Adams. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Floyd.
Morning.
Now, who have you brought with us today? Who do we have here? We're going to have to kind of move him over a little bit, hold him up so folks can see him on the camera. There you go. All right. Who is this?
This is Shibu, a 9-year-old domestic shorthair.
9-year-old domestic shorthair. He looks almost, he's a pretty good sized cat too. He's not small, is he?
He's a big boy.
He is a big
I don't know
boy.
his exact weight, but he's a big boy.
Now, how did he come to the shelter?
Shibu came to us as a stray, as a bite quarantine. He bit somebody and had no records due to being a stray, so he stayed with us and is now ours after his quarantine.
How long has he been down there?
Oh, I think he
Since
came
May.
in May.
Mhm.
Since May. Shibu, you can't bite people, buddy. Now, Chelsea, how long have you worked with cats?
With cats, well, I've had them my entire life, but in the dog and cat shelter for the last year.
For the last year. Now, what inspired you to go to work over there at the dog and cat shelter?
I completely enjoy animals, and I love the idea of helping them find homes when they don't have them, especially because there's so many homeless animals.
Yeah, there's an incredible amount. I actually been talking about that for a little while. I didn't realize the amount of not just dogs, but cats that go through that shelter in any given year. It just surprises me for the size that Sheridan is, the amount of animals that go through your shelter. It's absolutely staggering, in my opinion. Now, Chelsea, what are the responsibilities of a cat lead? You can go ahead and put Shibu down.
He's like,
I just wanted folks to see him on the camera. Go ahead and pull that mic right in close to you. What's the responsibilities of an assistant cat lead?
the responsibilities of assistant cat lead is I am the assistant to the cat lead who is doing all the medical, getting cats put in for medical, getting them vaccinated, keeping track of who we have, who's available. We also test these guys with dogs, and we don't have kids to test them with because not very many of us have young kids that we can just give to the cats to see how they react. But my part of the job is I help keep track of the vaccines and get them done for the cat lead if she doesn't have time. I help move the cats around the building, and I help answer questions from like the kennel staff that might not know that one cat has this wrong with it, or if there's something wrong, I can immediately report it to the cat lead.
Now, when a cat comes in, what are the steps that we have to take? What are the tests that we run?
So generally when they first come in, it's a 3 to 5 day waiting period before we actually own them and we start doing stuff with them. The 3 days is for surrender. The 5 days are for cats that are strays, so we can make sure they don't have owners, or for surrenders, if they want to come back in those 3 days, they can take their animal back. 5 days so we can check around, check if they have a chip and make sure they're all good. Then they go through medical, and then we start getting assessed on their personality, because by then it's like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we see how they react, and then we bring in dogs and we test them with how they react to the dogs and how they react to us and other cats, because that's also an issue sometimes.
Yeah, I've got a cat at home. She doesn't like other cats. When my wife moved in, she had a cat that had been with her for 12 years. And after a couple years, they'll lay together, but that's about it. They don't really get along. She was a rescue, and boy, I'm here to tell you, she was, we just call her Kitty. She's a trash kitty. She'll sleep in any garbage. We've got to make sure that, like, if you get a package in, we got to pick up all the paper. And she claims every box that comes through the house. A very cat-like behavior. What should people keep in mind if they go down there and they think, you know, I want to adopt a cat today? What should I be thinking about?
Their adjustment period. Cats can take a really long time to adjust. Some of them are really nervous about moving to new areas. Not all of them are like Shibu, who is completely calm and relaxed right now. Some of them get so stressed out they make themselves sick. and then they'll hide from you. And we've had a lot of cats get returned because they don't immediately love you. And they do. They just don't know what to do in a home because some of them have never been in a home.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a lot of ferals.
Sometimes. Right now we have a lot of them. It kind of influxes
Yeah.
from what I've seen so far.
What do we do with feral cats?
We fix them. And then if we can't socialize them, we're hoping that a rancher comes around that needs a mouser.
And so
And usually we let them go at no charge.
now I was going to say there's a program over there for what was it called? The Barn Cat program or something where we can go and if we've got mouse issues in the barn or maybe a shed, maybe out there with the feed, we can go pick up semi-feral cats and take them home and then just pretty much kind of turn them loose in that area so that they can do their job as a cat. How often are you seeing that from ranchers in the area?
Not as often.
Yeah.
Some of our ferals will stay for almost a year before people come and get them, in a sense. And right now we have like 6 of them. 3 of them are being socialized, but the other ones can't. They're not friendly enough.
They're just too far gone.
Yeah, it's more like they like their way of life and they don't want to change it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to like cats, how the heck do you socialize a feral cat? Because, these are, in my opinion, the perfect killing machine.
Oh, yes.
Evolution has made the perfect hunter. And believe it or not, the perfect hunter is a house cat. I believe the science has found the most efficient hunter on the face of the planet is actually a very small house cat looking wild cat in Africa. They consume more prey per night than the largest of cats could ever even imagine.
That's the black-footed cat, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
I just saw an article about that, actually.
They are the most efficient little killers that evolution's got to present us. So how the heck do you socialize something that with that amount of teeth, that amount of claws, and doesn't want to be socialized?
With extreme caution.
Yeah.
So we have feral gloves that go up to about here and some lower. And we put those on. For most of the cats, when they first come in, they get the first day to just sit because none of them have the right personality when they come in. They're either terrified, don't care, or they may murder you. And sometimes it goes throughout all 3 throughout the day. But you approach them. We have a stick that I put a glove on that I pet them with first to see how they react. If they bite it, I'm not going to mess with them for a little bit. And then we just kind of work from there. Work with them getting used to our presence. They have a feral box, which is it's like a cat kennel, but all sides are closed, and you can close it so you can clean around them so they still have a clean area. And you just kind of work with them, petting them, letting them see you feed them so they can figure out, oh, you're not as bad. And some of them don't come around to that. Some of them just go, no, I don't want you.
Yeah.
I want to be free.
Strong-willed animals, aren't
Yes. Yes, they are.
they? I've been trying to train my cat since 2016 to stay off of the counter, to get off of the kitchen table. It's not going to work. I have finally just admitted that cat is a practice in patience for me. That's what she is. I always tell everybody she is my constant reminder of evil in the world. But I do keep her around. Now, so when I go to adopt a cat, I got to keep that in mind. When I take it home, it's going to take some time to adjust. What else should I be thinking about?
Let's see. A lot of the time, one that you think is really pretty might not be the one you actually want. There's all sorts. One problem we run into is people always want the really pretty cats, which nothing against that. Take the pretty cats. They need homes too. But we have cats like Shibu, who are seniors, and they don't get looked at much.
Yeah.
That's why he's been here so long. One thing to take into consideration is they want homes too. And sometimes they'll be the best animal you got. And 9 is not as old as they can get.
Yeah.
I had one that lived to 19. Some people have 18-year-olds. I think the oldest living cat is 30 right now in the world. So
Wow,
yeah,
30
they
years
live
old.
forever.
We Emmy's cat. He's been around. Well, he was 11 when we met, so I imagine he's probably about 14, 15 years old now, and
Yep.
he's still kicking right along. Pretty much doing the same thing he's always done, laying
Jumping
on the
on
bed.
counters.
Right? Yeah. He's not the counter jumper. He's actually a pretty good cat, except cats have a different sense of independence from dogs, don't they?
Yes.
Which, believe it or not, is actually one reason why I always kind of owned a cat as opposed to a dog. I didn't have to pay that much attention to it. A cat, much more independent. I could leave for a couple of days and not worry about it. So keep in mind, it's going to take some time for the cat to get used to its new environment. What about declawing? Because that is something that some people have done, and a lot of people believe it's just a form of cruelty. Where do you stand on that?
In my mind, it is a form of cruelty. Declawing, they basically amputate, if I remember correctly, on the toes. Because the claw is a part of their toe, so they just take that whole part off, if I remember correctly. I'm not a vet, so don't quote that part. But
Yeah.
and down the road, it causes medical issues out the butt.
Yeah.
Like, they'll stop using their litter box. They can't get full stretches. They lose a lot of confidence. A lot of our declawed cats are biters. And mean biters, because they don't have the front defense mechanism anymore. They have none of that.
Yeah.
So they're down to, if they get scared, they just go to bite, which causes issues because cat bites are bad when they happen, but they just lose everything in a sense. And it's not fun to watch sometimes when they fall off of a counter that they shouldn't have fallen off because they don't have their balance as good anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've actually heard stories about the claw trying to grow back, and it'll grow through the paw pad, which causes so much pain for the cat. So I agree with you on that one. Shouldn't be declawing cats. All right, folks, more with the Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter when we come back. Stick around. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Plan to attend the Caliph Shrine Christmas Bazaar this weekend at the Shrine Temple in Sheridan. Sale hours are 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Enjoy shopping and lunch with Indian tacos and pie for just $15. They'll have hourly door prize drawings, and you'll want to purchase raffle tickets for a custom-built fly rod and reel, a custom-tooled leather satchel, a Ligursky meat certificate, or a Visa gift card. The Caliph Shrine Christmas Bazaar this Saturday, 8 to 2 at the Sheridan Caliph Shrine Temple.
Cats, dogs, maybe even your chicken. Once again, it's time for the Petaween photo contest on SheridanMedia.com. Spooky, cute, or maybe just plain wacky, take a photo and post the photo for a chance to win one of 3 amazing prizes. There'll be 3 winners. Enter your pet into the Petaween photo contest now through October 31st at SheridanMedia.com. Once voting opens, don't forget to share your cute or spooky critter on your social profiles, as the winner is chosen by most votes. Thanks to our sponsors, Shipton's Big R, McGraw's Paws, Mandy Koltiska with Century 21, BHJ Realty, and Camco Federal Credit Union. So, who's gonna win this Petaween? Will it be your pet?
As we enter the fall months, have you made that plan to market your business? Are you stuck? Confused on what to do? Hi, this is Bob Grammons, General Manager at Sheridan Media. Let us help you put a plan in place as we gear up for the holiday season. Sheridan Media can market your business on up to 9 different radio stations. We can place your print ad in front of nearly 18,000 households in Sheridan and Johnson County with the Country Bounty, or market your business worldwide through a variety of digital products that we offer. We can also place your ad on our 2 websites, Let our creative and experienced marketing team put a well thought out and professional, comprehensive marketing plan together to connect with your customers on multiple media platforms. No high pressure. Let's tell your story, whether locally or across the country. Call Sheridan Media today at 672-7421 or email sales@SheridanMedia.com and let us go to work for you.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at Eliason Financial. I'm Floyd Whiting. Now, there are quite a few cats in Sheridan. Kittens can be spayed or neutered when they are only 8 weeks old. If possible, these procedures should be performed in the first 5 months of your cat's life. AJ, can folks spay or neuter animals through the Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter? How does that work out there?
They can't bring them up, and we'll do it for them, unless they're an animal we own. You know, we do those in-house before they get adopted out.
Yeah, so you guys aren't a vet service. I mean,
Correct. But we sell low-cost spay and neuter certificates to low-income households, so $35,000 or less.
So if you earn under $35,000, I can come up there and I can say, here's how much I earn. I need to get this animal spayed or neutered.
Yep.
Can you help me out? And you'll be happy to help me out. How much will that end up costing me?
It depends. It depends whether it's a cat or a dog. I know we're talking about cats today, but it's anywhere from $30 to $60, depending on whether it's a female or a male, dog or a cat. And then you take that certificate. I believe we still have a handful of vets that cooperate with us. You take that to the vet and get your animal fixed, and then the vet will send us the bill.
Now, are there other things? There are some other things happening out there at the shelter. Tell me about the shelter garage sale. What was that?
Well, when I started working at the shelter, we have a couple of sheds, and we have a boardroom. Well, you couldn't set foot in it. It was just plumb full. We've been receiving donations. We have items that we need to store for the wintertime. They're seasonal. So everything's just been accepted and placed wherever there was room.
Yeah.
So probably the first couple of months, we spent the time actually going through those items, trying to figure out, is this something the shelter uses? You know, is it an abundance of something? If we couldn't use it, we'd put it in a shed, and we started organizing. So we gotten to the point where we had so many of the same items or things that the shelter has no use for that I asked the board, I said, we need to have a fundraiser, a donation-based garage sale. So the board showed up last Saturday. The weather was kind of crappy, but we did good. So, you know, we raised money that we otherwise wouldn't have, and we got rid of those items that, you know, people needed and we had no use for. So we actually can set foot in that room now. We have a meeting room, and that shed, we actually have room to put seasonal items.
Well, that's fantastic. And those donations that folks made of these pet items, that although the shelter couldn't use them on site, you could still use the profit made from the sale as a donation itself. That's pretty amazing. Roundabouts, how much did you end up making on that?
Just a little over $600.
That's not bad. That's
in
pretty good.
In a 3-hour period.
Yeah, for 3 hours of work, $600. That's pretty good. Plus, you opened up all that space.
Oh, yes.
So if folks out there wanted to make donations, which obviously they do, people bring stuff up there all the time. What kind of items can the shelter always use?
Well, I'm going to let Chelsea talk to that too, but I've been trying to teach my staff to say no, okay? Because I don't want to be in that same situation just a little down the road, because, you know, somebody would like to give you something and you feel bad saying no. You know, a lot of times, depending on what it is, if we know, let's say we can't use it, we have no use for it, but the second chance down the road, because they're another outfit, you know, they're relying on in-kind donations.
Yeah.
So we say, hey, give them a try. You know, an abundance of towels, blankets, dog beds. You know, we just kind of have to weigh, what do we have on hand? What else can we fit? So it's probably based on where we're currently at. You know, our washers and dryers went out, and a lot of stuff had to be thrown away. and the rest we hauled off, to the laundromat.
Yeah.
So, we went through an abundance of certain things. So now we're kind of restocking. So I've been asking my staff, before you accept a donation, kind of ask, what do you have for us, and determine, can we put that to use? Do we have the space?
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to let Chelsea talk, when we're talking about what can we use, because she spends a lot of time in that room too, that we're talking about where we keep things in-house, rather than putting it in the shed. When it ends up in the shed, it's really seasonal and not a lot of people go in there.
You never see it again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
yes.
black hole of stuff, right? So, Chelsea, in the cat room, what are the types of items that if I wanted to make a donation to the shelter, I could bring you?
Towels. We use a lot of towels. Generally, we can wash most of them because the cats aren't too gross. We have a few that make me wonder how they live in it. But towels, rags. We've had cat trees donated before. Sometimes those are really useful for us, like the smaller ones, not so much the bigger ones, because the cats love them, and we can't exactly go out and pay $60 to
Yeah, cat trees are
on them.
expensive, aren't they?
They're
They're
expensive.
incredible. Yeah.
Yes. We've had cat toys donated. Those are generally well loved and well used by all the cats, considering one room has 50 plus cats in it. So they all enjoy the community toys. Let's see what else gets donated. We've had litter boxes donated too, but most of the time we don't use them as often.
How many litter boxes are in the cat department that need cleaned every day?
So we have roughly, got to be at least 100 plus litter boxes.
100 plus litter boxes.
That's a guess, because we have two rooms that have more than one litter box in them. So it's kind of like figuring how many cats are in each room to count that number.
And
Wow,
because we
that's-
put them in the kennels, they have to be the simple style, certain sized ones. And a lot of times they make a donations. They give us the boxes, the nice ones you would put in the corner of your kitchen, or, we can't fit those into the kennels.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the community boxes, of course, they're larger. But the ones we put inside the individual kennels, they're smaller and they're very simple.
And nothing fancy, right?
Nothing fancy.
Please, I mean, I know your heart's in the right place out there,
Yes.
but like automatic litter box cleaners can't be
We've
be
had all
used.
that come in too,
Yeah.
and then we're like, okay, we always try to put things to use, first. And then, of course, as we have donation or people adopting cats or even dogs, and if we have an abundance of something, we ask them, do you need this? Do you need that? Because usually their first stop is at a
pet store,
supply
yeah.
store, you know what I mean? And they go shopping. So we try to send these adopting those cats or dogs with whatever they need. So they don't, if we have
Food
an
and water
abundance-
dish, litter
Yep.
box, and maybe
Leashes.
a couple toys, right?
Yep. Leashes, collars.
Yep.
And we can always use wet food, canned
Yes.
wet food. So a lot of that.
Completely spaced the wet food.
Yeah, parade pumpkin. We're like having to use it for cats and dogs every single day. You switch their foods and, they're anxious, they're nervous. So we add that in.
So
And
pumpkin actually helps their stomachs
Parade
and puts
pumpkin.
them, puts them at ease, right?
Yes.
Fiber in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, tell me about the trick or treat event that's coming up at the shelter.
Well, it's actually starting today until next Monday. So it's reverse trick or treat. So instead of you coming in asking for candy, it's the other way around. We're actually asking for dog and cat treats. And just make sure that if they're home baked, homemade, that they're actually suitable for the animal. And other than that, just dog bones. Dog chews,
The
any
goodies.
treat you can think of, any goodies for those critters. So we're kind of turning that around on you. Bring us what you think, the animals will like.
And bring up as many treats as you can grab. Get them up there as long as they're suitable. Now, do you guys use a lot of like the bagged treats, or do you prefer things like homemade stuff?
It doesn't matter as long as it's edible, or safe for the animal.
Okay. Now, tell me about Gail Irwin and her book signing. What was that?
Yeah, she came down from Casper. She had reached out to the shelter. She writes sweet romance novels, and it's around animals and dogs. And October was the Adopted Dog Shelter months. So during those months, whatever area she's in, she'd like to give back to the shelter. So she reached out and she wanted to highlight a couple of our dogs. and our shelter wish list. And we provided all that, and we went down to the book signing, and then a small proceed of her sales came back to the shelter. So it was a wonderful outreach on her behalf, and getting her name out there, but again, her giving back to us. So it was this beautiful partnership.
What a cool little event.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, do me a favor. Tell me how long the trick-or-treating is going to happen, the reverse trick-or-treating for
Starting
animals.
today until next Monday.
Until next Monday. You
Yep.
can bring treats
Halloween.
up to the shelter, preferably, and like you said, anything edible would work. All right. Well, AJ, Chelsea, thank you both for coming in today. And now he's available. What's his name? Shibu? Shibu's available to be adopted. He is a little bit older, but he is a really calm cat. If you're looking for a calm lap layer, he looks like to be the one.
It's his favorite hobby.
Sitting around, favorite
And if
hobby.
not, we have another 82 available cats. So I'm
82.
sure there is one in there.
You're going to find one with the right
Just
personality
about
for
all
you.
ages, too.
Just remember that when you get them home, it's going to take a little while for them to adjust to the new area. AJ, Chelsea, thank you so much for coming in
Thank
this
you.
morning. All right, when we come back, we're going to speak with Uprising regarding a concerning trend here in Wyoming. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Tax planning is not just tax preparation. With the changes due to tax reform over the last few years, you need a tax planner to ensure you are getting the most value for your business. We offer advisory services customized to your needs to help maintain financial viability while achieving future goals. Come see us today. Parker Mellinger, focusing on where you're going, not where you've been.
Lots of fresh faces on the lot at Hammer Chevrolet, Troy Baker.
Bob, we have a 2021 GMC Canyon all-terrain for $45,000, a 2020 Blazer Premier for $43,295, a GMC Terrain Denali all-wheel drive for $35,495, or a Chevy Silverado half-ton with a 3.0 Duramax engine for $49,995. All of our pre-owned vehicles are priced below NADA book value.
Hammer Chevrolet, 107 East Alger, online, hammerchevy.com.
When the unexpected happens, you may wonder what's next. Champion Funeral Home can help you through this phase of life. They provide support and personal services while helping you create a meaningful tribute to your loved one. Champion Funeral Home has been locally owned and operated since 1911, providing compassion and care to Sheridan and Johnson County. Visit Champion Funeral Home at championfh.com or call 674-6329.
Nestled in between Halloween shenanigans and voting escapades, 6 finalists will be competing for a share of $100,000 in startup funding. Jessica Madden here from Impact 307, inviting you to the Sheridan Startup Challenge Pitch Night, Tuesday, November 1st at 5:30 p.m. at the Wild Theater. Immediately following presentations, you'll get to eat, drink, and gab with the finalists until winners are announced. And of course, there will be an Audience Choice Award determined 100% by you. Admission is free, and Pitch Night will be live streamed on SheridanMedia.com.
Sheridan College Alumni Network presents Resilient Leadership, a leadership impact luncheon on Wednesday, October 26th from noon until 1. The featured speaker will be Jen Krause, the Sheridan College Vice President of Student Affairs and Executive Director of Sheridan College Foundation. The Resilient Leadership Luncheon is just $20 per person or $10 for Sheridan College alumni. To register, please visit SheridanCollegeFoundation.org or call 675-0700.
Good morning. Welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at Eliason Financial. I'm Floyd Whiting. For 10 years, My next guest has made it her life's work to combat sex trafficking and the exploitation of victims and children. Along with Alexandria Johnson, she founded Uprising, a 501c3 that brings awareness, education, and outreach to the issues of human trafficking here in Wyoming. Welcome back to the show, the executive director of Uprising, Terry Markham. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning.
Now, are you ready for winter?
I kind of am. I'm ready for cool weather.
Yeah. How's your fall been so far?
It's been wonderful. Now that it feels like fall, it's great.
Now that we're out of the 80s.
Yes, exactly.
I do have to say, though, one thing that I don't appreciate, the only thing that worries me about the coming winters, like that constant driving, it always concerns me, not just me, but people on the road every year, car accidents, and it's just rough to see. But now remind us of what Uprising is and how you work to bring awareness to human trafficking right here in Wyoming. Because I'm sure a lot of people out there are listening going, well, we don't have a problem here. We have a problem here, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, so Uprising, we are a nonprofit that was founded here in Sheridan in 2019. We serve regionally now, and we sort of have three main components. The first one is education for professionals, because we want to train professionals across the state to be able to understand what trafficking is and how to identify it and how to react to it in whatever capacity is best for that individual. The second thing that we do is public awareness. So lots of community events and just bringing this information to the public so that they can stay better educated and look out for things in their own community and look out for their neighbors. And then the third thing, which is probably the most important to us, is prevention education, specifically with youth. So going into schools, doing events for youth, just getting out there and empowering youth with knowledge so that they can better stay protected against ever having to experience any kind of exploitation to begin with.
And that's the thing, it always worries me. And, until my daughter was in high school, I didn't even realize what a massive issue this is. And luckily we made it through, fairly well. But individuals like with video game systems targeting young boys, girls being targeted through their phones, like this is happening. And sometimes it's right underneath the nose of parents, right? Like we might not even know what's taking place. So educating our youth about these predators, essentially.
100%. I always tell parents the predators are in our homes now because they are just on the other side of the screens that all of our youth have. And we can no longer put those conversations off until kids are older. We need to start having them more often and younger because the access to technology has just changed a lot in the past several years. And so we have to give them a little bit more information so that they can better protect themselves too, because even if you're a parent who doesn't let your kid have a phone or whatever, I guarantee they still have access through their friends, through school, things like that.
One more thing for parents to have to worry about all the time.
Unfortunately.
You work really closely with law enforcement. You provide a lot of great training for them. How else do you work with law enforcement? And in what other capacities?
Yeah, so working with law enforcement has actually become one of the biggest parts of my job. We've done a tremendous amount of law enforcement training in the 3 years that we've been a nonprofit. In fact, even before we were officially Uprising, we were already working with and training law enforcement, but those relationships have just grown and grown. We have some amazing collaborations with different law enforcement agencies around the state. One of my favorite ones is actually Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office. We've been able to do a tremendous amount of work in Sweetwater County because of that partnership, and they initiate a lot of that. They keep bringing us back to help train their community and to collaborate with us. We also have amazing partnerships with our Department of Criminal Investigation, specifically what's called our ICAC team, which is Internet Crimes Against Children, because we are so much in the prevention space. I like to say we're upstream of the issue. ICAC is downstream of the issue. They're working with actually rescuing these kids who are being targeted. They're arresting these predators who are targeting them. So we've actually co-collaborated and created some resources together. We've created presentations together, and now the ICAC commander and myself travel around the state and do training together, because we find that it's really effective to show people the problem, which he can really speak to, and then for us to come in and give them some prevention solutions, and again, empower those parents, empower those youth. On top of that, I get to do really cool things like sting operations with law enforcement and interview sex buyers that they arrest. And it's probably the most exciting part of my job for sure.
During the course of those interviews, what is the most fascinating thing that you've learned? And maybe fascinating is the wrong word.
No, I think that's a good word, actually.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating to me. I think the most surprising thing is the amount of empathy that I feel, because here's this person who's contributing to this huge problem that I spend my life working on. But at the end of the day, it's another human sitting in front of me. And there's a lot of different things that have brought that person to where they're at as well. And the one thing that I know to be true about sex buyers is across the board, 100% of them suffer with horrible pornography and sex addictions. And so as someone who does prevention education, especially with youth, I like getting the chance to talk to these buyers, because at the end of the day, we wouldn't have sex trafficking if we didn't have people who wanted to purchase sex. People who want to purchase sex, why do they want to do that? That's the prevention that I need to get in front of. And by and large, I see that it points back to pornography as a root cause. So we need to be educating our kids about the harms of pornography so that they don't end up in those cycles and eventually become those people one day. So I'm not just trying to prevent new victims. I'm also trying to prevent new buyers, new predators as well. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely. Like you said, there wouldn't be a market at all if there wasn't a buyer in the first place. So if we can figure this out and maybe start prevention programs around that idea, maybe, like you said, you can get way upstream of this issue. When it comes to like pornography and things like that, with the access to it through phones, through computers, kids are changing it in schools. And this is a lot more than just, and I'm not excusing this behavior, but like when I was a kid, it was passing the magazine around among friends, right? Well, okay, now it goes to this person, that person. It's a lot more than that nowadays.
Yeah, it's gotten so dangerous. It's just this horribly violent, unrealistic picture of sex that kids are getting whenever they Google something. It's very highly addictive. It's very unsafe. There's a lot of research out there about the mental damages that porn causes, the physical damages, the relational damages, that it can have effects on the rest of their life if they get really immersed in that. And like anything else that you're addicted to, the more you're using that, the harder and harder stuff you need to get the same high. And that's where we get people who are getting into really weird things. That's probably where, when we're arresting the person who's now gotten into looking at images of children and stuff, it probably didn't start with that. It's a process that takes them there through their addiction. So I think it's important to get in front of it. And it can be hard because, when you tell people you want to go talk to kids about pornography, they're like, oh, no, we don't want to do that. But it's kind of like when we were telling people years back, we want to go in and talk about drugs to kids. Like we're not introducing it to them. The statistics are half of teenagers are already watching it. So they just don't know the harms of it. They don't know it's victims that are in that.
They need to be educated on the risks that they're actually taking.
Absolutely.
Because to them, they might just, I just watched a video. It's no big deal. But that's got potential to spiral completely out of control and take over your life. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. This is something you can become addicted to, just like a drug. It still releases the dopamine in the brain
Yep.
that everyone's feeding on. No matter what your addiction is, that's what we're looking for.
Yep. 100%.
Now, speaking of awareness, something that you brought to my attention, and one reason why I wanted to get you back on this show is to talk about something that's happening right here in our state, and fairly close to home. Illicit massage parlor trafficking. What is this?
So, really, what it is when you have massage parlors that are offering services beyond what a massage parlor should. So, basically, they're offering sex acts out of those massage parlors, and it absolutely is here. We have it in a lot of communities across Wyoming, and it's nationwide. We have these, we call them IMBs, illicit massage businesses. We have IMBs across the U.S., but we are seeing a lot of them in our area. As a matter of fact, some investigations have shown that some of them are moving here. And I think a big reason for that is we don't really have a lot of regulation on our massage industry. So they can come here and they can operate and start up a business right away without jumping through any hoops or anything, or having to worry about people coming up and checking on their business to make sure it's legit.
What do these places look like? I hate to stereotype anything, but there is a very particular look to these steps that the owners take to ensure that they're going to keep your nose out of my business, right?
Yep, absolutely. So there really is an MO for an illicit massage business. By and large, illicit massage businesses are typically run by foreign nationals, or there's at least foreign nationals who are working in them, usually of Asian descent. They actually all come into the U.S. through one main entry point that we know about. And then there's like a Craigslist type of program, so to speak, where a lot of these individuals and victims are on that, and they get dispatched out across the country to these IMBs. And what they typically look like are your Asian massage parlors. You can usually tell if it might be an IMB because some of the indicators are you can't see into the windows. They usually have stuff covering the windows. A lot of times there might be cameras outside. Sometimes there's even ATMs right inside. And if you especially are a woman and you go into one of these places to get a massage, you're probably going to get one of the worst massages of your life because you're not their clientele and they don't want you to come back. And so those are a few of the things that we know about IMBs, but they're definitely in our communities. I see them all the time, and I know, working with a lot of law enforcement, I know law enforcement who have active cases that they're building against IMBs in communities around Wyoming. And for me, I also know there's a website. This is really almost disgusting, but there's actually a website where people who frequent these businesses can pay for a subscription, and then they can leave reviews of their acts that they got performed on them at these IMBs. And so I check that from time to time to keep up and see where we have active ones. And I know we have an active one here in our community in Sheridan. We have active ones in Sweetwater County, Natrona County, Albany County, or not Albany, Laramie County, excuse me. So we have them all across.
And it's just amazing to me. And the human trafficking part of this is these young ladies are told you're going to go to the United States and you're going to work in a massage parlor. It's probably presented pretty innocently, right?
Exactly. Sometimes they're told they're going to work in a massage parlor or a spa. Sometimes they're just told that they're going to come here and they're going to have a legitimate job. But what happens is when they get here, all their documents are withheld from them. And then they get sent to work in one of these massage parlors where they're forced to perform sex acts. And they really have no choice. They can't leave it. There's a lot of cultural and language barriers that prevent them from leaving. They're taught to fear the police and told they're going to get deported if they report. And at the end of the day, there's a misconception that they make no money. They do make a little bit of money. And what little bit they make, they're sending home to their families in their home countries to help support them. And at the end of the day, the poverty that they're coming from is so great that just having that little bit, they don't want to risk cutting that off to their families. They don't realize that there's actually protections in place where they could get help and get a legitimate job and have a legitimate path to a working visa here. So it absolutely, they are victims. We also know there's been surveillance done in IMBs. And when people think they have the right to purchase a sex act from you, there's not much else they won't do. So we also know that the victims in these massage parlors are often subjected to really horrible physical violence and forced rape as well.
My God. And this is going on right here in our state. I've only got 2 minutes left, but tell me how I can help as a citizen.
Well, I think the big thing is just understanding there's a big stereotype around these businesses. Oftentimes people know that they're in their community, but they think, it's just consenting adults. What's the harm? The harm is those are actually victims in there. And then we talked about the sex buyers and that addiction cycle. That's feeding into that. If we give people who are on that addiction cycle a way to feed that addiction further, what's the next step when that's not enough for them? So we want to get these things nipped in the bud in our communities because we don't want to be feeding into the demand for commercial sex. And then we don't want to be having these victims in our communities. And it's really hard to help these victims. I will say that. It's pretty rare. usually, even if law enforcement does bust one of these, usually they're just going to fly back to home base in New York and then get dispatched out somewhere else.
Or go to another location. Yeah.
But every step, it's just steps in the right direction. So the big thing that we need, our state is actually looking at some legislation right now to make what they call manual stimulation a sex act so that law enforcement has more ground to go in and start investigating these businesses. So supporting that legislation at a state level and educating yourself about it. And then we have a lot of cities who are trying to pass ordinances right now. Rock Springs and Green River are two of them that I know are in the process of having workshops and reading ordinances to combat this.
Terry, thank you so much for coming in and bringing this to our attention. Folks, if you want to help, support that legislation. Maybe talk to your city council members. Ask them if there's something that they could do at that level. We need to help these victims and ultimately maybe even help some of these buyers. Terry, greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Wow, isn't it beautiful? How can you not love this time of year? Yes, fall is here. Kids are back in school, sports are underway, the mornings and evenings are cool, and the leaves are starting to change in all those beautiful colors. You know what else is great about fall? It's an awesome time to buy or sell real estate. Hi, this is Jill Bates. So if you're thinking about listing your home or looking to buy, give us a call. The best team works hard for you in all the seasons. Call us today at 675-BEST, that's 675-BEST, or find us online at bestwy.net. Make it a great day.
Let's talk about tires. Think about the snowy, icy roads ahead, and now think about your current worn-out tires. How safe does that make you feel? Well, lucky for you, Midas Tire and Auto has their best tire sale all year going on now. Buy 3 tires, get 1 free. That's 25% off. And the best part is if you aren't ready to put your tires on right now, Midas will hold them until you're ready. How great is that? Don't miss the big tire sale going on now at Midas Tire and Auto on East Brundage Lane in Sheridan.
Louisa, Darwin, Marissa, Megan, Elena, Izzy, and Zach. These are your 2022 Sheridan Startup Challenge finalists vying for a share of $100,000 to launch their idea. Jessica here from Impact 307 inviting you to the WYO Theater on Tuesday, November 1st at 5:30 p.m. for pitch night. After presentations, eat, drink, and chat with the talent until the winners are announced. It's free, open to the public, and will be live streamed on SheridanMedia.com. See you November 1st, 5:30 p.m. at the WYO Theater.
Cats, dogs, maybe even your chicken. Once again, it's time for the Petaween photo contest on SheridanMedia.com. Spooky, cute, or maybe just plain wacky, take a photo and post the photo for a chance to win one of 3 amazing prizes. There will be 3 winners. Enter your pet into the Petaween photo contest now through October 31st at SheridanMedia.com. Once voting opens, don't forget to share your cute or spooky critter on your social profiles, as the winner is chosen by most votes. Thanks to our sponsors, Shipton's Big R, McGraw's Paws, Mandy Koltiska with Century 21, BHJ Realty, and Camco Federal Credit Union. So, who's gonna win this Petaween? Will it be your pet?
From the Wyoming Corporate Office Studio on 103.9 FM and News Talk 930.
KROE Sheridan.
2 weeks to Election Day. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. But more early voting gets underway today in person in Wisconsin. Even as legal fights continue, the state's high court already ruling against ballot drop boxes.
A Wisconsin judge also sided with Republicans in another lawsuit, ruling that election clerks are not permitted to fill in missing information on ballots. IDs are also required to vote.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Wisconsin, one of multiple states home to closely watched races for both governor and Senate. The new Fox News Power Rankings add another House seat to the Republicans' projected majority, with Senate control still hanging in the balance of several toss-up states. Another volatile day in a Wisconsin courtroom at the trial of a man charged with murder for crashing into a Christmas parade last year, killing 6 people.
You are disobeying the direct order of this court to respect the decorum and the dignity of these proceedings. You are merely attempting to delay.
I don't care what you think, that's not accurate.
Mr. Brooks?
Darrell Brooks is representing himself and keeps fighting with the judge, who keeps removing him from the courtroom. The judge moving on to instructing the jury, which could begin deliberating later today after closing arguments. The U.S. condemning what happened earlier in a Russian courtroom.
Today was another sad day for the rule of law in the Russian Federation.
The top U.S. diplomat in Russia, Elizabeth Rood, after the appeal of American basketball star Brittany Griner was rejected, leaving her in prison in Russia for having cannabis vaping oil in her luggage.
The excessive and disproportionate sentence of 9 years in a penal colony.
Russia rejects the U.S. claim that Griner's wrongfully detained along with American Paul Whelan and has not responded to an undisclosed U.S. offer for their release. The White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, just reacting to the sudden death of former Defense Chief Ash Carter, calling it a painful reminder of our fragility. Carter was just 68, had sudden heart failure. America is listening to Fox News.
To you, my love, my heart I surrender just as soon as I deal with yonder fender bender. Cause my ice cream truck is the way I make cash. So I'll buy you a ring when I lose this dress rash.
Owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but at least Progressive Commercial saves you money with personalized discounts. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I'm gonna make you so happy sometime next year, I hope.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
The Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute provides educators access to nonfiction 9/11 resources for K-12, first-person curriculum with video, Discovering Heroes book series for kids, and a speakers bureau with access to 9/11 first responders, survivors, and loved ones. A high-tech 83-foot tractor trailer that transforms into an interactive museum with artifacts, and Russell F. Siller Memorial Scholarships for exemplary high school students of program recipients preparing for college. Never forget, donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
The UK's third Prime Minister since July gets to work.
Born in Southampton in southern England to parents of Indian descent, he's the nation's first leader of color. At 42, Rishi Sunak is the youngest British leader in more than 200 years.
I've just been to Buckingham Palace and accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government in his name.
Sunak was Treasury chief for 2 years until July, losing to Liz Truss, who stepped down less than 50 days into her tenure as Prime Minister.
Our country is facing a profound economic crisis.
Some claim he's out of touch with the general public, Now he's in charge of fixing the country's finances as millions of Britons struggle to afford food and energy bills.
Fox's CJ Papa. A tropical storm that battered Bangladesh is now blamed for at least 24 deaths, with some 8 million without power across the country. The government reporting about 10,000 homes damaged and some 15,000 acres of crops destroyed. Just getting word of an earthquake in the Philippines, magnitude 6.2. on Luzon Island. However, officials are saying no serious damage is expected. Amazon kicks off its plan to let customers pay with Venmo.
Some customers in the U.S. will be able to pay for things with the popular service now. Others will have the option by Black Friday, November 25th. Amazon users will need to set it up as a payment option. They'll be prompted to authorize Amazon to use their Venmo account. PayPal, Venmo's parent company, has been working with Amazon to provide the payment service since last year.
Fox's Jenny Cosola. Amazon will still accept debit, preferred credit, and gift cards as payment. Quick correction in the Philippines. It's now a 6.4 quake. Stocks are higher so far. The Dow's up 251. Elisa Brady, Fox News.
This announcement brought to you by Farmers Co-op Country Store on Coffin Avenue, home of the Ligursky Sausage Lunch.
Hi, I'm Garrett from the Food Group, and the Food Group needs your help collecting reusable grocery bags. Each week, we send about 450 weekend food bags to kids facing hunger in Sheridan County. Making the switch to reusable bags helps us distribute food more efficiently and prevents plastic waste. Drop off your reusable bags at Food Group, the YMCA, Cottonwood Kitchen, Sheridan Stationery, the Hub on Smith, and Sheridan College.
Nestled in between Halloween shenanigans and voting escapades, 6 finalists will be competing for a share of $100,000 in startup funding. Jessica Madden here from Impact 307, inviting you to the Sheridan Startup Challenge Pitch Night, Tuesday, November 1st at 5:30 p.m. at the WILD Theater. Immediately following presentations, you'll get to eat, drink, and gab with the finalists until winners are announced. And of course, there will be an Audience Choice Award determined 100% by you. Admission is free, and Pitch Night will be live streamed on SheridanMedia.com.
News Talk 930 at 103.9 FM. Live from everywhere USA, it's Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon.
Here we go. Coming to you live from the greatest country in the world, broadcasting from the tippy top of the world-famous Fox News headquarters in New York City. It is Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon, a man who has never claimed the 2024 election was stolen.
What the hell did you just say?
Here's a weird one. Hillary Clinton, the people's pantsuit, says Republicans already have a plan in place to steal the whole thing in 2024.
Why'd she do that, Jim?
Well, one, because she's clearly planning on running, and two, when it comes to all of their claims about undermining faith in our elections,
Democrats are so full of crap.
They really are. We will discuss with Dana Perino, Belle of the Fox News Ball, and Brian Brenberg, who discusses Mayor Pete Buttigieg's claim that Republicans are to blame for inflation.
Pete Buttigieg is pathetic.
I mean, come on. 888-788-9910 if you want to be a part of a big Tuesday episode of Fox Across America. The rules are the same every day. You could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat. Just don't be a... As we get underway, we are 14 days till the midterms, 4 days out till the Spokane Comedy Club. If you want to come hang out with your radio buddy in Spokane this Friday, this Saturday, SpokaneComedyClub.com. I've been reading my Facebook messages on the Fox Across America page. Sounds like a lot of you guys are coming. It's going to be a rowdy one. So if you're in the area, if you're not in the area, I say this a lot on the show. You will never feel better about yourself. You will never feel better about your consumption of a media product than you will from meeting the Fox Across America crowd. Like, I'm proud of this crowd. I want you to understand. It's a big deal to me to get my own show and be broadcasting all over the world. But then to know that the people who actually show up and like this stuff are cool. I don't have, like, lunatics. They're not militant. No one's getting violent. No one's getting rowdy. You know, a couple of you got violently drunk in the Lake of the Ozarks, let's be honest. But that's fine. So it's, you know, no judgments here. I mean, that's pretty much my credo at this point, is that I'm a hot mess. But the point is, if you're in the area and you want to come down and be a part of just, it's such a spectacular energy. I'd love you to be a part of it. SpokaneComedyClub.com. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. Except Hillary Clinton.
This is not okay.
No, I'm mad about this. I'm mad. It's Tuesday. I should be in a good mood. And I'm kind of in a good mood, but this is ridiculous. Okay, understand the whole point of the January 6th committee, okay, whole point was Donald Trump challenged the legitimacy of the election. That, of course, led to violence. You cannot undermine faith in our elections or you're going to get a bunch of people killed. That was the positive January 6th. That's why we've impeached Trump not only after his presidency, but we're now raiding his compound in Mar-a-Lago. And we've got January 6th protesters being denied their due process rights that have sat in prison every single day since they ran into the Capitol, you know, behind that one lunatic in the Chewbacca bikini. Okay, and again, I have never condoned January 6th. I think it's really bad. I'm not okay with it. I was on the air the day it happened. I said it was garbage. But you know what else I said? I said you'd have to be patently insane if you think you're going to win the 2022 midterms based on scaring people over January 6th.
You gotta do better than that.
Yes, it was bad. But believe me, when people look back to January 6th, the most shocking thing about that day was the price of gas.
Bingo.
Maybe the price of groceries or goods. Dude, inflation is at a 40-year high. The murder rate has spiked to a 35-year high. Fentanyl crossing the border, now the leading cause of death for American adults. Believe me, nobody cares. Nobody cares about January 6th. I didn't say it was good. Okay, but when you try to tell me it was a deadly white supremacist insurgency.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
Okay, the only person that died that day, and I'd certainly say that one is too many, but the only person that died that day was Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed Trump supporter who was shot in the throat and killed by Capitol Police. Any other story you've heard about cops, and believe me, we're very pro-cop on this show. Everyone in my family's a cop. Okay, but anybody else who died as a result of January 6th did not die as a result of January 6th. You know, people who had strokes, people who had heart attacks after the fact does not count as a January 6th death.
That's true. That is true.
But the media has conveniently omitted that from a lot of their analysis. I played you an MSNBC focus group yesterday where they were trying to make hay with Pittsburgh voters, people who listen to us on WJAS. Hey, girl. And they were trying to get them to say, oh, we'll never vote Republican, not after January 6th. Nobody cares. You want to know why? Because objective observers understand that January 6th was bad. They also understand that they've seen the same thing out of the left, whether they were attacking the White House in the summer of 2020 or they were setting 12 Democratic cities on fire in the name of racial progress. For real, they're making racial progress by burning down black-owned businesses in the near north of Minneapolis. That's what we were told as Kamala Harris was tweeting to bail out violent protesters.
Kamala is a lying sociopath. Fact checked.
But there is no bigger lying sociopath than Hillary Clinton, who just got out yesterday, late last night, and said with a straight face, that Republicans already have a plan in place to steal the 2024 election.
Get her out. Get her out of here.
This is significant. Why? Okay, because we have been told time and time again, challenging the results of an election is treason. You're going to get people killed. Never mind, the Democrats did challenge the results in 2000. They challenged the results in 2004. And oh, by the way, they challenged the results in 2016, which did, in fact, culminate in all kinds of violence after Trump won. When Trump won the 2016 election at his inauguration, they set cars on fire along the parade route. Okay, they bashed in the front window of businesses. Okay, we did, yes, see an uptick in Antifa riots around the country. We did see the resistance. People got on they were called pussy hats is what they were called. People said it on TV, so I guess I can say it on the radio. They were wearing hats of a female anatomy on their heads, walking down the street. Like, we're the resistance.
That was embarrassing.
Okay, but understand, in their head, it was justified because the bad guys won. Okay, they were evil, so the rules aren't in play. Trump, winning the presidency meant we weren't going to have a country. So if you want to burn down the parade route, don't expect the media to say anything. That was basically the conceit of that whole thing. And even in a post-presidential world where Trump is being raided by the FBI, we are to believe you shouldn't care that this is an unprecedented raid for the first time in the 246-year history of our country. Why? Because the guy said an election was stolen. And what kind of person would possibly say an election was stolen? You know, besides this lady right here, clip 1.
Hello, Indivisibles. I'm here to highlight something that is keeping me up at night.
Waiting for Bill to get home.
And I know this group really understands what I'm about to say. I know we're all focused on the 2022 midterm elections, and they are incredibly important. But we also have to look ahead, because you know what? Our opponents certainly are. Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election. And they're not making a secret of it. The right-wing controlled Supreme Court may be poised to rule on giving state legislatures, yes, you heard me that correctly, state legislatures the power to overturn presidential elections. Just think, if that happens, the 2024 presidential election could be decided not by the popular vote or even by the anachronistic Electoral College, but by state legislatures, many of them Republican-controlled.
Don't you have any respect for yourself?
I mean, we are living in the death of shame. Just to be clear and to dissect that clip, the woman who told you that 2016 was stolen, and make no mistake about it, she said it was stolen.
As I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
What?
So I guess we have some issues, huh?
No, there's no issue. The media doesn't care. Democrats can say an election is stolen every day of the week. They don't care. That's not treason. That's not undermining faith in our democracy. But let me be very clear with you. Maybe not in the eyes of the media, but in the eyes of objective people, of course it is. What are you, nuts? Okay, listen to that clip. Not only is she undermining faith in our elections, but she's undermining faith in the Supreme Court. Okay? The Supreme Court is corrupt. They're going to give state legislatures the power to overthrow elections. That's what they're going to do. So the election's bogus. The court's going to throw it out. If by the standard of questioning an election is treason, this is like, I don't even know what. What do you even call this? Okay? This is why nobody takes them seriously. You got to understand, okay? Donald Trump saying the 2020 election was stolen. Not a good thing. I did not echo those sentiments because I don't have proof that it was stolen.